So yeah, it's nice to catch up with you, and I love being able to be on Zoom and actually see. So I think it's kind of forcing us into trying some wines, and I guess when did I come to your state? Probably 3 years ago, something like that, huh?
Three, I would say three or four, huh?
Yeah, it's been a little
No?
while, and we never really even got much of a chance to taste together. I think my business partner wandered into your tasting room, tried the wines, and then we tasted briefly, and then just started ordering from you. So it's kind of fun to be able to try these with you and get your take on your style of wine.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. But you was there to
yeah, I was.
you
Yeah,
came 3 or 4 years ago. You came too.
yeah, I was in Chavignol, and we were staying in a hotel up the hill. And I think my business partner walked down with his friend, and then we came down maybe an hour later and tasted through the wines very quickly, and then placed an order, and boom.
Yes, yes. We start like that. Quite crazy.
Yeah,
No, but for me, it's kind of a very fun market. When I say to my friend I am selling wine to Bermude, they say, quite exciting place. You should go in holiday over there.
yeah, you need to
But,
come. Hopefully, when this whole COVID thing is over, you can come in and we can do a dinner and do some fun stuff like that on the island,
but I have to come with my wife because she will not be happy otherwise.
She's not going to let you come by yourself.
Because I just have a baby 6 months ago.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. So you're not going to be going anywhere anytime soon then.
It's a son, so it was my biggest challenge, I would say, is to make sure that the avenir is
He's happy.
the future with a son is it will be easier for me.
Yeah, so that kind of leads us to the point. You took over. Have you taken over the estate from your dad? When
Yes.
did you do that? When did that happen? When did the transfer happen, or when did you take
10
over?
years ago, exactly 10 years ago now. Times fly. I went back when I was 21 years old, and I am now 31. And the domain is passed from father to sons since the 17th century now.
Wow.
Which is quite a long time. So I have the chance to continue this amazing story. And I have the chance to have a very open mind dad. He let me change everything.
Did he?
We are now on the organic certification finally.
Yes.
So in 3 years, for the 2023 vintage, I would be able to put the label. I am working on this way and like an organic guy for 10 years, but I didn't want to go and to take the certification because for me it was something very marketing, and I didn't want to pay for any label. But now the pressure is more and more here. Even my dad, who was a more traditional guy, I mean, he worked for 30 years, like with herbicide, insecticide, very normal for his generation. But now he pushed me to go. You can't do what you do for 10 years without a label, because people, they don't know what you are doing at the other side of the world.
Yeah,
so
I'll tell you, just from my perspective, we find more and more of our customers love to see the label on the back, organic label. And I can tell them that you're organic all I want, but until they see that, it really means something and it resonates. So
Exactly.
I think it's worth it. It's a good move. Very good move.
That's why I decided to go forward and to start. And so I just have to wait to vintage now, and after the wine, I will be the first domain in Chavignol to be organic, because it's more than in other village of Sancerre. To be organic in Chavignol, it's a proper challenge with a very high, very steepy slope we have, like Montané, Cul de Beaujeu. It's crazy, especially when you have 33 hectares, which is quite, it's still a human size, but you don't have to go in holidays too often if you want to keep your vineyard like a garden without chemical product.
Yeah, so has that been your biggest challenge since taking over? is moving to organics, or has it been other things to change?
It was my when my biggest challenge was to stop 100% of the herbicide, of course.
Yeah.
To work the soil and now to harvest everything in small cases of 12 kilo, like in La Romanée-Conti. I would say there is no other domain in Sancerre harvested all the production in small cases of 12 kilo of grapes. And Sancerre is harvested by machine for 80% of the appellation, and 19% of the appellation is harvested by hand, but in big cases and big trailer. And only Domaine Pinard in Buée and me are harvested in very small cases like that. Just because I want to go at the end of the idea, when you work your vineyard like a garden, you want to respect your grapes as much as possible at the end. And I don't want any oxidized juice before the grapes arrive in the cellar.
Yeah.
And thanks to that, I really can decrease the amount of sulfite and intervention. I just have to leave it, the nature do it by itself. When your grapes is ripe, healthy, and no crash before the cellar, it's easy to make wine.
Yeah. So you mentioned Pinard in Buée. How do you compare like Chavignol, the terroir in Chavignol versus the terroir in Buée?
Buée is more caillotte. In Sancerre, there is 3 big terroirs. Yeah. Flint soil, the cuvée Seelix that we will test.
Mm-hmm.
And after, in the family of chalky limestone soil, there is 2 big families. In Buée, they are very focused about, we call it caillotte, limestone pebble. It's a lot of little rock, but with quite a low amount of clay.
Yes.
In Chavignol, we have the more terroir like Mondanet, Cuit de Beaujeu, and some other, La Grande Côte also. We call it terre blanche, Kimmeridgian Marne. It's much more clay. I mean, after rain of 20 millimeter, 1 day after you can go in the caillotte with your tractor, but in the terre blanche like in Chavignol, forget it, because you will crush everything. It keep much more the water, and we have. The wine from Buée, I would say, they are very precise, they are very straight, they are very professional, I would say.
Yeah.
Very gastronomic wine.
Mm-hmm.
In Chavignol, we have more. It's more fat. There is more fruit, something more large in the palate. You see, the caillotte is more like that.
Yeah.
And terre blanche more like that.
Got you.
So more generous. The wine from Chavignol are always more a little bit aromatic, but not in the bad sense, but more open. In Buée is very comment tu dis ça? How do you say that in English? You suce le caillou. You smell more the rock. Chavignol is more.
Almost more minerality, more rock.
Voilà, c'est ça. C'est ça.
All right. So when we're talking about your bottlings, Chavignol, Seelix, and your reds, are you seeing a lot more pickup on the red wines? Are you noticing it's easier to sell?
A little. Yeah. I didn't catch one sentence.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering, are you seeing more traction or more interest in the reds in Sancerre these days, or is it always about Sancerre Blanc?
There is 300 wine producers in Sancerre.
Mm-hmm.
10 are very successful. 10 domain famous are very successful in red, and they don't have it Pinot Noir. But 90% of the person of the domain in Sancerre, they don't sell so well the wine.
Yes.
Because to make good Pinot Noir is much more difficult than to make good Sauvignon Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
And the price, for people, they are taking off some Pinot Noir, beautiful Pinot Noir, because they can't sell it and they sell it much easier, the white, with better price, because before the crisis, I mean, the Sancerre white, even if you make bad white, you sell it with unbelievable price. The last 7 or 8 years, the price of the 1 liter of Sancerre white doubled. It was in 2012, it was €4.50 1 liter when you sell it to a wine merchant.
Yes.
And now it's more than €8 per liter, 8.50. So people, they are boring to make Pinot, and people who are not very passionate and that who don't want to make great Pinot, they stop to make Pinot and they make Sauvignon. But for us, me, I miss Pinot. I don't have enough red. We are a beautiful alternative to the high price of Burgundy. If you do blind tests of Cul de Beaujeu with some beautiful bottle of Burgundy with crazy price, you make big surprise.
Yeah, I love that about the wines. Do you think that is because global warming? You've seen a move like a little bit more heat and a little bit more ripeness in the grapes. Have you noticed that, or is it just your winemaking? What do you attribute?
No, there is the point you say is you're right. We have easiest year to make great Pinot because the ripeness is much better than in the 90s or the 80s or even in the beginning of the 20s.
Yeah.
No, it's, and after our way to work the vineyard also changed a lot, because I stopped to give food like McDonald's to the vineyard. I stopped no more nutrient.
Yeah.
To make great Pinot, you have to be athletic. I mean, like a person who is going to the Olympic Games, they have to be fit. For the Pinot, this is the same. If they eat too much burgers, they will be fat and they will not give you any sincerity, anything from the soil. Yeah. And when you find again the balance, it's becoming more and more interesting. Me, I am a big fan of Pinot, and I could not imagine make this kind of Pinot now when I came back 10 years ago.
Yeah. So when you say that you spent 10 years working on the domain, you've spent 10 years taking it to organic structure. Are you really seeing big changes in the wines now? Because these things take time, don't they, for the vines to fall into balance? For the it's not like a quick moving a ship that moves quickly. It's a slow moving thing, the vineyard, right? So where do you think you'll be in 10 years? Are you seeing big gains?
First, for me, it's very interesting to see year after year how life is coming back. It's like actually with the COVID-19, you see some dolphin of big shark in big animals from the sea in the Mediterranean Sea, like we never see for a long time. So the positive point is that when you take care and you stop to be too much intervention or too much chemical, we have to stay at our place. We just have to follow the nature, but you don't have to move all the good balance. But when you stop, 10 years ago, all the chemical way, it's so interesting to see how life is coming back. Yeah. How many different flowers are coming back, and to see the grapes before I went back, or even at the beginning in 2011, 12, 13, the grapes were getting rot before the beautiful ripeness, because too much food was coming just at the moment of the harvest, and the grapes could not be ripe. Yeah. Now the fruit is becoming ripe without any rot, so it's so exciting. And of course, it's much more challenging, but for me, if I wasn't do it, this job will not be interesting at all for me. I don't do that because no. But people in my village thinks I'm quite crazy at the beginning, and now they are more and more difficult for me to explain in English. But
They're
more and
asking.
more
Are they asking you
curious
questions
about
now?
the result. I am the more organic guy, and I still do wine. I mean, the vineyard is looking great, and I have a good amount of grapes, because the thing which sometimes make for me a problem is when you hear a lot of time it's organic, so it's very more expensive because there is too low yield. It's not true. If you if life is coming back, the soil will give you more production and more healthy production, so you can make quite beautiful yield if you have a good balance.
Yes.
So voilà. So this is challenging, especially for my wife, because there is some months during the year where you have to be 100% following everything, the Saturday, the Sunday. But it makes me so exciting to see what's happened and what is my objective for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
I to be honest, I am quite worried about the global warming climate, especially this year. 18, 19 was very hot year, but 20 we start like we never start. It's absolutely crazy. The vine, we are the 15th of April, and we already can start to the debudding.
Yeah, debudding sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, debudding already start. The vineyard is already like that, the 15th of April. Normally, we are almost 1 month earlier than we should. So for the first time of the history, if we continue like that, we will maybe harvest the 31st of August, like in Languedoc-Roussillon.
How do you?
So there is a.
What do you do to counterbalance that? Is there anything
we cannot do anything.
Yeah.
So now I don't during spring, because it's hot and hot and hot, more and more. So I really want to preserve the grapes. I want to trim the vineyard much more large, and to keep hidden the grapes in the middle of the vine. I don't want to take off the leaves now. At the beginning, I used to, on the east side, where the sun rise, I used to take off the leaves 11, 12, 13, 14. I was very happy about this idea. Yes. But now I stopped to do it in June because I will have too much sunbed.
Yeah, too much sunburn. Yeah, sunburn.
Too much. Voilà. No, the idea now is to put the grapes very in the middle and to keep a lot of vegetation.
Yes. Yes. So it's a totally different situation than it was just even a couple of years ago, which is crazy, huh?
Yes. In 5 years, it's crazy how things are moving so fast. Yeah. So fast. I know it's this is my. I can't imagine in 50 years or even in 20 years what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Should we plant Syrahs in 20 years? And
you don't know, maybe, huh?
No, but you don't change your grapes like that in 2 years. I can't take off 33 hectares of Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir and make Syrahs tomorrow.
I guess maybe the one plus
something we should know. It's not a low. Yeah. Sorry.
I was saying that maybe the one plus about maybe the positive about the COVID situation right now is that it's slowing everybody down a bit, and that we can think about some of these things. I hope, maybe, but
exactly.
Time will tell.
This is a good point of the situation.
Yeah.
I really, for me, the COVID is just the nature is giving you a big advertisement or. Be careful, man. You're doing things absolutely crazy. You don't control anything. You just want more and more and more all the time. But nature will be stronger than us.
There's no.
Yeah. So, voilà.
Well, on that note, is it cool? Is it okay to try? Maybe we try your 2018 Chavignol. You can tell us
Allez.
a little bit about that and tell us about the vintage and what you think about the wine, you know?
Yes, let's start it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I am out of stock with this vintage for now 6 months. No, not 6 months, but 4 months.
Yes.
So I'm quite excited. I haven't tasted for 4 months now.
Oh, nice. My first question for you is with the Chavignol. When is the best time to taste this wine? Do you think it needs time in the cellar, like a year, 6 months? How do you feel about it?
I think we drink our Sancerre too early. In my way to work, actually, this is the good point of the COVID. It's the sales are going down actually, and for me it's quite very cool because I always say for the last 5 years I would love to stop selling wine for 6 months because I have to make more stock.
Yeah.
Not many people would like to hear that from me because they are not in the same situation, but for me it's quite a good situation because the work I am doing, it's quite a shame to sell it at the beginning of the year just after harvest. It's a little bit a shame because the wine after 1 year, of course, is much more interesting.
Yeah.
So you see what? My bottle is cork.
That's not fair, is it?
No, I promise you.
Yeah.
No, I come back. It's cork.
Oh, it's no.
This is why, you know what? I'm very happy to tell you today that I changed and I moved to Diam cork. I wasn't a big fan of Diam, but to be honest, too many problems with this fucking cork. Too many bottles who are going, we call it coolers. I mean, when there is some wine going through and make the label dirty.
Yes.
I didn't want to go on Diam, but they make now organic Diam. They call it Origin.
Yes.
And it's made with emulsion of huile de ricin and cire d'abeille. I don't know how to say it, but not almost no chemical glue.
Mm-hmm.
And no more problem. All the bottle we taste the same. So the 19 vintage, everything is now put with Diam because I am tired with this car.
Can I ask you about screw caps? Have you thought about screw cap at all, or is that pushing it too far?
No, screw caps is also a good alternative, but I don't have the equipment for that, and I will need to change many things of my machine.
Gotcha.
So voilà, for me it's much easier to put Diam, and for the French market, Diam they don't see that it's a technical cork for people. They open it, they're happy. They are not really ready to open screw caps. And for my high level cuvée, I can't see I will put screw caps for Mondané au Cul de Beaujeu. And I want to make my life easier, and I want to put the same cork for all my range of wine.
That sounds good.
So screw caps is, I think, for Austria, all the wine I can taste in Germany and Austria, for me there is no problem. It's something, it works. But actually I only have now 4 or 5 months of feedback with the Diam, but no problem at all. All the bottles are tasting good. I can, thanks to Diam, the origin by Diam, I can decrease still more my amount of sulfites and the CO2 gas. So especially for the sulfites, because there is less oxygen moving through if you compare with a natural cork. So it's a good point for me who is very allergical to sulfite. Et voilà. I go to take another bottle and I come back because I want to test also.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. Don't worry. Take your time.
What do you think?
I love it. I love it. And now that you say Chavignol is known for more like weight and a little bit more of a broader wine, you always do see that in your wines. And I think this displays it really nicely with the right amount of acidity and balance. I love it, but I'm interested for you. Like, how much Chavignol do you make compared to your other cuvées? It's your big cuvée for sure.
Chavignol represents 60% of all the production.
Yeah.
60. So we make 180,000 bottles a year.
It's a lot.
So Chavignol 18 was the first year with my new press. I bought 2 big Coca hydraulic press coming from Champagne called Coca in order to respect still more the press process and to respect more the grapes. And thanks to that, I don't do any comment t'appelles débourbage? Débourbage? How do you say that in English?
I'm not good at that. Sorry.
The settling process.
Oh, got you. Yeah, settling. Like letting the grapes settle. You could put them straight into the press when they came out of the vineyard.
Voilà. Yeah. So now, just after the press, I leave it the juice. I don't do any settling process.
Yeah.
And I can work with natural yeast. So this wine is made with 100% natural yeast. It was my first vintage without any yeast. And for Sauvignon Blanc, it's a very difficult challenge, especially in 2018, because the alcohol level was quite high. It's a wine around almost 14. Huh? Maybe on the label you see only 13.5, but it's more close than 14 than 13.5. So it was difficult. Sorry?
You were worried about the ferment kicking off for the first time, probably, huh?
What is the problem is when is to have a wine with 5, 6 or 7 grams of sugar. Yeah. And in Sancerre, you really want something very dry.
Yes.
So this wine is around 3 grams per liter. I couldn't go at 0. It was impossible. The yeast was dead.
Would you like to be at 0, or do you think this wine is balanced at 3 grams of sugar? Are you happy with the balance in this?
I think you will see 2019 vintage for the new vintage coming is a little bit more dry, and you keep the balance on the paper is quite the same. It's hot vintage too, but you got some little bit more freshness, and this one is a very good wine for easy drinking wine, I would say, for everybody. It's not the more gastronomic wine, but you want to enjoy a bottle of Sancerre. It's a grand public. How do you say that? A big public wine.
Yeah. Pleasure.
All my consumer, not maybe the big professional, but all the consumer really enjoy it because it was there is a little bit of sweetness, and wow, there is no acidity who attack your palate. You see what I mean?
No,
for people,
it's very easy to drink. That's for sure.
But personally, my style will be more on the 2019. You will see when you will receive it. Something a little bit with more precision.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about? Should we move on to the Seelix? You could tell us a little bit about the 2018.
The 2018 in Seelix.
And Seelix for me is always such a different wine of yours. It's, I don't know, I find it a little bit more ripe and a little bit more, but will you tell me a little bit about the terroir and what this wine is all about?
I always start by Seelix when I harvest.
Yeah.
Always, this is my first block I start. Mm-hmm. It's a wine aging for 1 year in big barrels of 2,000 liters. And I am big fan of the Seelix 18, I would say. Very big fan, because there is very few 2018 who which keep such fresh and minerality. If you compare with the Chavignol, which is this one is much more gastronomic, and me, I'm a big fan of Seelix. You really can feel the terroir. It's not too much oaky. It's very subtle, but 18 for white, for the Pinot Noir, 18 is a very great vintage. 18 for the white was quite challenged because very low acidity and quite a lot of alcohol, as you can a little bit see with my Chavignol. But it was the case for everybody. But Seelix is very impressive by the freshness for this vintage. I don't know what do you think, but
yeah, it's totally different. There is more finesse there, actually, to be honest. And I feel like the fruits are maybe a little bit more riper. What do you think about? See, I don't know. I don't even know where the vineyards are. The Seelix vineyards are. Is it just a totally different area? Does it ripen?
Ah, totally different area.
Yeah.
There is no Seelix in Chavignol. The Seelix are along the Loire River.
All right.
This is the youngest terroir. The vine is now 40 years old, so it's a quite old vine. Very difficult to work because Seelix, when you want to work without herbicide, is very hard and it destroys all our tractor.
Mm-hmm.
And no, for the white, it's quite, the Seelix is not a common terroir. You can't find Seelix terroir in many places in the world. Huh? You don't have too much wine coming from Seelix. And now to make this cuvée 100% separately, it's crazy for me. You see, this cuvée is ordered by you see the boat, le Ponant, the beautiful luxury boat.
Yeah. I got you.
They order for the next 5 years 10,000 bottles of Seelix every year.
Really, huh? They love it.
Ouais. For the captain dinner.
Yeah.
So they say to have this because it's a big block. Huh? For me, Seelix represents 12 hectares on 33. So it's quite a lot. Huh? I have a big chance to have this terroir.
Yeah. Who bought it in your family? Was it your grandfather, your father?
This is my grandfather in the 70s. There were only 3 in Chavignol to feel the opportunity to move out of Chavignol and to discover some new terroir. And this is why nowadays we are more strong in terms of structure because it's an amazing terroir, more young, so giving you more grapes, because the terroir of Chavignol are quite tired and very difficult to do. And there is vine for now 200 years old or 300 or more. Seelix, this is the first 40 years where there is vineyard on this soil.
Yeah.
So no, for me this soil is so important, and I can tell thank you to my grandfather.
Yeah, I bet that was a big purchase, 12 hectares too. That's not a small purchase. What do you think?
He said to my dad when my dad was 16 years old, okay, now stop the school, come back because we are going to plant 1 hectare year after year in the Seelix. And now my dad is 60 years old. His back is broken because he was not able to go more time in school when he was younger, and just for working in the Seelix soil and to make the domain growing.
Wow.
So
I had no idea about that story. What do you think about the reds that come off the Seelix? I wish I had
the Seelix red.
Yeah.
This is a more challenging wine to do because Seelix white is a great vintage. We know it. It's a great terroir for Sauvignon Blanc. But for Pinot Noir, it's very unusual to taste Pinot Noir on Seelix soil.
Yes.
There is one cuvée quite famous. We call it La Belle Dame with Vacheron Domaine.
Yeah.
But after, I don't know many Seelix red. But I have a beautiful old vine with 1 hectare. And for me, it's quite funny to see the evolution. This is maybe the cuvée which makes the more beautiful evolution for the last 10 years, because the Seelix was always getting hot when we harvesting, and now for the last 2 or 3 years, finally after 7 or 8 years, we have now grapes which are ripe and healthy.
Yes.
And this is more, you see, Chavignol Rouge and Cru Beaujeu, it's a soil more like Burgundy. But the Seelix, this is a more mineral terroir, and this is a wine which show you the most that you are in Loire Valley. It's more close than it's showing you the border between the Pinot of Burgundy and the Cabernet of Chinon and Saumur-Champigny.
Yes.
So I really like the spiciness of the Seelix, and more. Seelix 18 Seelix 18 is unbelievable.
I need to order some with my next order. I got to give it a try.
All the 18 in red are so interesting. Cru Beaujeu is the best I've never made so far. Seelix 18 is crazy, and Chavignol Rouge 18 the same. First time I make a standard red wine at this level.
What? Why? What is it? Was it the weather, the heat, the vines in balance?
In 18 in red, you have everything. The ripeness, it's healthy, there is acidity. It's like 16. 16, I really like 16 in red. 17 was, we are going to test the Cru Beaujeu 17.
Yeah, I'd love to, yeah.
17 in Pinot in Sancerre, but it's not the more like in Bordeaux, like everywhere in France. 17 doesn't get the best
ratings and press reviews.
Yes.
Yeah.
Voilà. It's a year where you see the bad and the good wine producer. Voilà.
Everything's on show, huh?
But it's a very sexy vintage when the wine is made when you make the work, when you really have to, in 17, you really had to sort the grapes. If you didn't sort the grapes, you make very bad. There is a lot of bad 2017 red wine in France, especially in Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
But this is typically the kind of year I like, because you really can see if you make the job or not. And when you are now, we have more and more very sunny vintage, and 17 is more fresh. For the last 5 years, this is a more fresh and not too much alcohol potential. It's not the wine to keep 10 years, but it's good right now. You just have to enjoy it straight away.
Yeah, that's the Beaujeu. Oh, I have one question about the Seelix before we move on. How much sugar is in the Seelix cuvée, the Seelix Blanc?
The white? White?
Yeah.
Only 1.2. So it's more dry.
Yeah, it is. And it more dry. And I don't know, there's something really beautiful about it. I think maybe you explaining it and putting it into its position has really helped me understand the cuvée a lot more, you know? That's really nice.
What do you mean?
Oh, just because, you know, I taste these wines, but I don't get to hear you talk about them, where they come from, how special that terroir is. I didn't know that it had such a special meaning to your family and to the style of wines that come off it, you know? So it's interesting to taste these wines side by side and have you guide us through them, you know, just to get an idea of what really goes into them. It makes a big difference, I think.
And I know that it's not so easy to share this moment, and we met once, and now to be able to show you and to explain some new things.
I love it.
I should do that more, but it's difficult. This is a difficult thing for me, is to explain my passion and to tell the story to everyone who want to meet me. And in France, we are becoming more and more popular. We have more and more big sommelier, beautiful Michelin star restaurant coming to the Domaine, and it's difficult for me to find the good balance between my private life and to work in the vineyard and to continue to make my wine.
Yeah.
and to spend so much time with people who really want to meet me, to understand how I am working now, and all the things that change in 10 years, and how the balance is not so easy to find, but it's a good problem. This is a successful problem.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have, but it's also
Always into me. It's always interesting to. I always love to explain what I am doing, and after a guy like you are able to explain to your consumer who is behind the bottle. There is a story. There is a and this is what I love with wine, is when you open a bottle and you bring it in a table, normally you bring a story and a landscape and a man behind.
yeah, and this enables us to do that, which I really love. You know, it's great. The nose on this is beautiful. It's nice fruits. Tell me about this one. I see a little smile on your face.
This is it's very Pinot Noir. The Cul de Beaujeu is the best terroir for me. It's like this is the more Burgundy terroir that I have in my range.
When you do blind test with is it more of the earth in Burgundy, or what makes you say this is Burgundian in style? Is there something that
because this is the only soil with a lot of iron. It's a chalky soil, but I have 20 centimeters of terre of soil more red because of the iron. You see, it's more when you go in Burgundy, all the soil are quite when you are in Côte de Nuit, the soil are quite red.
Yes,
and that's why I say that this is a more Burgundy soil. And when you do blind tests with beautiful Côte de Nuit from Chambol-Musigny, you easily can say that. This is the Pinot. It changed. It's really different from 16, 18, 19, where you have a lot of power, a lot of alcohol, a lot of richness. This one is more like in the beginning, Pinot like 10 or 15 years ago, more subtle, more easy drinking, more fresh, more. No, it's interesting for me, this vintage.
Yeah, I'll tell you, from my perspective, it's very silky, very soft, very easy to drink, very giving wine. And when you say like Chambol-Musigny, that's what I often think of Chambol the same way. You know, it's a generous wine, just pleasurable to drink. You know.
I know that Sancerre Rouge is not so famous all over the world. With most of our Sancerre Red is selling in France now, but I really like, and I think it's very fun for you to show that Sancerre is not only white, and to make interesting people with beautiful Pinot with a reasonable price.
Yes.
And they can make surprise for their friends and taste it, Sancerre Rouge, you don't maybe know, but there is amazing things now doing here.
It's beautiful quality, that's for sure. And you can't argue with that. You can't find Pinot at this price, you know, anywhere else in the world that gives you so much pleasure, I don't think. I would agree. What do you, rosé? I have some rosé coming from you, and I love your rosé because I find you make your rosé in like a super dry style. There's no give in your rosé. There's no, I feel like you must ferment that down to no sugar in there.
No sugar.
And I find that it's always better like the next year when it naturally takes on a little bit of oxygen and the wine changes and it softens up. And then you pour it for somebody when it comes out of the container and they're like, it's very angular and wound up, but you give it a bit of time, and your rosé is one of my favorite rosés. I love it. It just, it comes on naturally. You know, is that your style, or what is your thought process behind your rosé?
The rosé was the last wine I wasn't very proud until 2015, because like many rosé, I used to make my rosé with all the bad grapes. All the grapes I don't want for my red wine, I put in the rosé, because the rosé, you put some yeast, aromatic yeast, you put quite a lot of sulfites, and you drink it, you say to your customer to drink it in this summer, quite quick, and that's it. You maybe have a headache the day after, but no problem. now in 15, I say to my dad, okay, we stop it. I want to make a rosé like if I wanted to make a great Pinot Noir. And there is not a lot of rosé who are harvested in small cases of 12 kilo, 100% sorted on the table. I have video of that. Huh? So the grapes are just beautiful.
Yeah.
There is no piece of vegetable piece, no rot, nothing. We press it and we do the same vinification that for the white. This is Pinot Noir grapes, but with the same vinifications on the white. No maceration at all. The color is coming naturally because the grapes are ripe. So I make a rosé with ripe grapes. And after I want something quite dry, and you're right. Like all my wine now, they are better 1 year after than after my bottling. We should leave it relax for 1 year at least. Yeah. And it's a beautiful gastronomic rosé. It's not just a rosé where you have to put ice in to be able to drink it.
You shouldn't do that.
So no, it's a rosé you can share with salmon, with spicy food from Asian food. No, it's I am the first guy that I don't trust the rosé, and I don't drink too much rosé because I am not 100% about what is inside. But I promise you that the rosé now we made since 2015 is making on the right side, and
no, you can tell.
Very, very, very sincere.
It's very serious, very true rosé to what you do. I have one more question for you. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if there was one cuvée that you love the best, or one plot of vineyard in your domain that you love the best, can you name it, or is that a tough question?
It's a tough question because the way I am working now, every vintage is telling you a new story.
Yeah.
And I really cannot know which story this terroir is giving me this year, and which feeling I will get when I will taste the wine.
Yes.
So I am very enthusiastic with Seelix 18 actually, and I think in 2 or 3 years Seelix White will be just crazy, and the Cul de Beaujeu 18 are wine who make me wow, how can we do this Pinot now here in Sancerre? No, but I always want to make better. It's the most important. You never can be happy in this job because you are now drinking 18, I am selling 19, I am already working for the 20 vintage.
Yes. So
as long as you stay in your vineyard, you stay working hard, you keep a good reason, you stay human. And every vintage is so interesting and I'm looking. This is why this job is interesting. When I start harvest, I don't really know what will be the result, and what I see is I become more. I did some mistake, but I become, and I will do a lot of more, but I really let my instinct feel the things, and sometimes I am wrong or not, but the most important is that the wine is giving you a story quite interesting. It's not something that every year will be the same and where you are very boring.
Yeah.
This is what I like.
I see that in your wines. For the 3-4 years that we bought them, we see them get better every single year. They tell a story. We love having them, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us,
It's my pleasure. This is what a lot of my customers are telling me, and it pushed me to continue on this way, that year after year for the last 5 years, you can see the evolution, and we love the evolution, and what you are doing is more and more interesting. And so I just want to keep fighting like that with nature and with the work, and trying to make my best.
Hey, well, we're excited for the next 10 years. I'm excited to see where your vineyards go, and hopefully next time I can come out and visit you instead of having to come over the Zoom and chat. But I'm glad you got to do it. Yeah, it was great to
No,
catch
no,
up.
but I was happy to see you again on Zoom, and
Yeah, yeah.
and I hope